So last year when they worked on mixed numbers and improper fractions, they used these fraction sleeves and it was really helpful to them. So if they had like 2 and 2/8 and they were trying to figure out what it was as an improper fraction, they saw this as a whole and they said, okay, I have 1 whole, I have 2 wholes, and I have 2/8, so 2/8. And then they would count all the little eighths. So there'd be 8 here, 8 here, which would be 16, 17, 18. So 2 and 2/8 is 18/8. And then the other way is if they had like 13/8, what would that be as a mixed number? They would, one second. Okay. They would count out each one of them. So they'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way until they had 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then they'd see, oh, this is 1 whole, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 whole, and 5/8. So that was really helpful to them to kind of see how these converted to each other. And then eventually, they'll see that, oh, they can do the quicker way of doing the 8 times 2 plus 2. But this visual helped them at first. And then they also used it for adding and subtracting. So if they had 2/8 plus 5/8, that's pretty straightforward. They just kind of did, here's my 2/8, here's my 5/8. Okay, together that's 7/8. And I know you guys are doing fractions that are not like denominators, so that's where you could almost have 2 pocket protectors. And like if I had 2/4 plus 5/8, I could pull out the fourths sheet and say, oh, 2/4 is equal to, if they lined them up, is equal to 4/8. So that's really 4/8 plus 5/8, and then they could use the bars again to figure it out that way. And then finally, for subtracting, so if they had like 1 and 5/8, let's say, and they were subtracting 7/8, so the idea where there would have to be that ungrouping, this sheet was really helpful. So if they had 1 and 5/8, and now I'm taking away 7/8, they would go on here and they would take off 5/8. Here I'm taking off 7/8, so now I'm left with 6/8. And so that was the way that they used it. Let me know if you have questions on that.